It's such a pleasure to meet you, Nancy, and I love your work, and I think it's amazing what you're doing. So congrats on that to start with.
It means a lot coming from you, for sure.
It's nice to see young female designers that come to the forefront, and especially someone who is pushing femininity and they're not scared of sexuality, and that's nice. You know what I mean? But to see women dress the way they look so powerful, and that's really beautiful.
I felt like that was what was inspiring to me about your work, I guess. Yeah, I still look to it. I mean, I still look even at the MA collection, which was...
Yeah, well, when I was in that studio of the MA, everyone was surrounding themselves with all the Margielas, the Helmut Lang. They were all trying to do these replicas or copycats. Whereas I was doing dresses made out of frills, and they were super short, lycra, see-through, mesh. And I was making stuff out of lingerie that I was getting in Riddle Road Market, because that's all I could afford. And I remember I was so scared to show Louise Wilson. And when I showed her the first bodycon dress all frilly, she was like, that is effing amazing. And for me, I was just so,
yeah.
Are you serious? Because everyone was trying to be like a Margiela moment. Whereas I was just like, why are they trying to do that? Why are they being something they're not? So you're so true to yourself, and that's great. I think when you look back at some of the course or some of the students or the graduation show, when especially my show, everything was so big and loud.
Yeah.
Whereas mine was so tight and small and short, but there's so much detail and so much structure within those small textile pieces. And it's the same with your work. Silence is deadly. I wanted it to be where you could wear it now. I wanted it to be real life. And like your pieces, women wear them and they feel empowered and they want it more. It's like an addiction because it makes them feel ultra feminine. And I think that's something that's been so shunned upon these days, as women looking, I don't know, like, are you allowed to say sexy? Is that okay? Like, are women allowed to feel sexy? It's like because of everything that's happening in the world. Like, it's nice to see another female designer like yourself pushing that. And I think that's important. I watched every sort of TV there is. Like, I watched trash, I watched documentary, I watched everything. So I watched the Clothes Show, and I remember watching a thing about John Galliano and Hussein Shalian at St. Martin's, and I was like, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. I didn't really know what it was, but I just wanted to do it. So
is there then a designer that you were kind of looking at more at the time when you first started? Or
I think it was always like looking back at those documentaries or those videos on TV, it was always Gianni and Donatella.
Yeah.
Like, and I think what he did was so like groundbreaking because it was so in your face, but also when you strip it back, it was also so genius. His structures, his silhouettes were just so beautiful and powerful. And I think, and then obviously I got to work with Donatella, which was a dream. So but yeah, I always loved those two because it reminds me of me and Tammy. I know that sounds super cheesy, but that brother and sister thing. Tammy was more going out, so she was wearing like great, like Helen Story, Catherine Hamnett. She did great. She had really old stuff, really old Versace couture. So I remember seeing this and then being like, oh my God, I want to do this.
What do you think was for you the most important moment in your career that changed the course of things, or maybe how you look at things or the brand?
I would say there's been a few. I think the Louise Wilson moment when I was in the office and she was like, I mean, she was like a film noir. It was like a black and white movie. It was so terrifying. And she turned around and told me that, and it gave me this confidence that I hadn't had before. And it made me believe in myself, because when you come from like, I'm from a working class background in Scotland. I went to St. Martin's for 6 years. Before that, I did the BA, but you're always made to feel, oh, you're not good enough. I don't know. It's just how you always want to do better. Yeah. So that gave me a huge injection of confidence, but still humility. And I think that's important. And I think that the most sustainable thing in the industry is to be creative, the most creative, because that never dates. It never goes out of fashion. And your dresses, people will be wearing your dresses 10 years, 20 years from now, and they'll still look classic. They'll still be, and I think, do you feel the same? Is that something you're strong about?
But I always have the pressure that I should come up with like a new idea or a new concept every season, because of exactly what you said, that you need to give people something new, but also something that is, that they will appreciate for a long time.
Yeah.
There, I have that constant pressure, but I completely agree because
But
that's the best way to be sustainable for sure.
I think that's something, like, as human beings, we always want more, we always want better, we always want to try to outdo ourselves. But I think what I've learned over the past year, 2 years, is that actually we don't need to be doing so much, in the sense that one idea is good enough. We don't need 10, and we just need to, like, because you think about it, we're always surrounded by industry people, and industry people love it, but they're always wanting more and more and more. We're all in this vicious cycle, whereas the woman on the street doesn't even know who I am, and she's still getting to know the brand. So as soon as you start, and you keep changing, it's just too much for that customer. And we need to remember, I'm very inclusive as a brand, and I'm sure you are too. It's like you want every demographic, every woman to wear your clothes, or boys. So, but sometimes it can be too fast. The fashion industry can be too fast paced for everyone. Do you feel the pressure? Or are you feeling good?
I feel the pressure. I'm excited, but I also feel pressure that, you know, it has to deliver to some extent, and it's not, you know, so.
But I suppose that's just really natural, isn't it? To feel pressure because it's your work and you want it to be the best it can be, but you just need to believe in yourself and believe in your work, because who cares what anyone else thinks? That's what I've learned, Nensi. This idea of appropriating other people's comments or reviews. I've not read a review in 6 years because I really don't need or feel the need to have one person's approval. It's about your customer, your clientele, the people who shop in Matches. It's the celebrities who wear you. They're the people who you should be listening to.
I mean, your first experience on the runway was definitely the CSN, but you did the first one after that because you were a bit more alone. How was that for you?
Terrifying. I'm sure you'll feel the same, but it's okay. But I think overall excitement and adrenaline, like it'll happen in 10 seconds. You know what it's like, the build up, and then it's over in like 5 seconds. You're like, what happened? And I think that's when the last minute stuff's always the best stuff, because you really react and you're fast. And sometimes, which I've learned over the years, when you've got so much time, you just procrastinate and you panic and you doubt yourself, and then things just don't. Whereas when you've got a week to do something, it's like bang, 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 and it's great.
Exactly. That's how kind of it works for me as well.
Well, good. That's good. That's a good way of working, because it's the reality for everyone. Any journalist or anyone who's been to my studio for any interview, there's never mood boards. I never put anything up on the wall because I'm always taking it back down again. Because it changes, like you say, you're reactive. But generally, it could be a person, or it could be someone from a TV show, it could be someone from a film, it could be something from a book. But it's always in here. And I don't really need to put it on paper, but sometimes I have to really explain it to Tammy, or she can be the same, vice versa. We really bounce off ideas.
I completely agree, because I find it, to be honest with you, very difficult when I am asked what exactly was the
inspiration. And do you know what I did last season? I did something, and I just says, there is no theme. It's just really nice stuff. It's really nice clothing. You can buy it or you don't buy it. I don't need to make up these fairy tales. Do you know how you feel that way?
I feel exactly that way, and I always feel the pressure to like try to understand what was my inspiration, because sometimes, as you said, it's just something you saw in the past, and it just, you're only reacting to it when you're on the mannequin or in the fitting. You don't exactly know. I mean, obviously, for example, for me, I do put stuff up on the board sometimes, but it's more like product research. So for example, like a trouser finishing or a trouser shape, rather than a mood board.
I always find myself talking absolute crap, and I'm like, what am I talking this bullshit for? Because it's actually, that's a dress. You like it, you don't like it. It's a good dress. Deal with it. There doesn't need to be all this like encyclopedic knowledge behind it. I enjoyed making it. But you have this amazing background in lingerie, which I find very interesting, because I love lingerie. And did you start off working in that department, or did you just?
Not at all, actually.
No.
I really loved it while I was doing it, because what I liked was actually that everything was so small. We were working with like tiny little things, and
Yeah.
I think that kind of gives you a different point of view. It makes you look at details more.
Yeah, I think it's like when you look back in history, the test of time, like there's so many moments in history which is defined from the lingerie, the undergarments. And it's like, it's defined the course, how the women, the silhouette, or even the pointy bra of the 50s, things that it's like women's liberation in a way. How, you know, I mean, lingerie stands in its own department of historical context for feminine revolution. It's really important.
I mean, sometimes, like, I don't know, when I bras that I have or I found, doesn't matter, sometimes they look horrible because they're old, but there is something about the way they're structured that you can very easily turn it into like a modern garment.
Yeah, I agree. The skeleton's always, it's always really, the structure's always good. And that's what I believe is so strong about your work. There is that structure that women just love. It's architectural. You really look in, you don't just do it for the sake of it. You do it because you're looking at the body and you're looking at the female form. And I think that's important.
Yeah, a lot of inspiration from you as well. So
oh well.
I mean,
I can't take credit, but yeah, that's really sweet of you.
Something that I wanted to ask, of course, is very important. I think for you, and for me as well, 'cause this is very inspiring to me. But art, is there an intersection between the two for you? And how do you maybe the art influences fashion, or the fashion influences the art?
So many people would disagree with me, but I really truly think it is. I think it's part of our expression. It comes from our brains, like an art piece would. It's something that we process. It is made with beautiful fabrics, or it's embroidered. So many hands have touched it. I do think it is art, and I think it's important that it's not just throwaway. It's something that you'll keep and cherish, and you'll keep it like it's a memory. Like for me, clothing holds so many memories, like an art piece or a photograph.
I just wanted to ask, because sometimes when I've seen your clothes, and by the way, I do have a lot of it as well. I feel like they're almost like, I don't know how to explain. I have this skirt that is lurex with lace from years ago. It's almost like I can hang it, like almost like art actually. And I really like that about your clothes, that they have this. It's not just, you know, it doesn't feel like it can be hung just in a wardrobe, but almost it can be a piece of art.
But I think I could say the same about your work. When you see it flat, it looks almost like it's like an architecture drawing. And I think that deserves to be framed and put on a wall, because it equally looks great in a body, but it equally could look great framed as well. Do you consider art fashion art?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
When I do a bit more elaborate dresses, because obviously I have the simpler ones, but I love to put the organzas with the tulle together, and they're merging beautifully on the white paper, and that is almost like a watercolor painting to me. I know you work a lot with Tammy, your sister. So how is that for you? How is that?
So we were always very close as children. There's a 5-year gap. But yeah, she was always creative ahead of me, so I used to follow her footsteps. But it's so important to have someone close by that you can really again bounce ideas, but also you can really have it out, because it's such an emotional ride being a fashion designer. You're up and down, you're always doubting yourself. So to have someone who can really reinforce and help you is important. Do you have someone that you can trust and talk to?
I have a lot of support from my father. He's not in the fashion industry, but he has.
You can trust his opinion. Yeah.
He has supported me a lot through the whole.
Amazing.
And a bit in every aspect, actually. He also knows the down moments, everything, and I think it's very important to be able to talk about it.
He must be so proud of you. So he only wants the best, and it's the same with my sister. They only want the best for us, and it's the same intention. So it's important to have people around you that you can trust. I think trust is very important.
I feel like you should do just what you feel like
I agree. Well, I learned that, Nancy, later on in life, and I'm telling you this now as advice, just do what you feel you're good at, because we can't be good at everything.
yeah,
So let's just, like, we can't, if you don't want to do t-shirts, don't do t-shirts. I mean, they'll always be saying, oh, can you do a t-shirt price point? And you're like, no, because it conflicts with my vision. And that's okay to say that. You're not being a pain in the arse, you're not being tricky, you're just being, actually, I can't do t-shirts. That's okay. It's okay. So it's that thing of the pressure's always there. And at the end of the day, like, matches have been phenomenal to the growth of my business, and I'm sure they're supporting you because you're so talented. But it's all about the good buyers and the sense of style and how they push it. And I think we're so lucky to be in the presence of Matches, because they really do push creativity. And I think that's why they'll believe in you, because they love your vision. I think you need to really be quite selfish in that respect and follow your gut instinct, because when I've not followed my gut, it's always went wrong. So I truly believe that fashion is, I mean, fashion is always going to be here. It's always going to be very important to culture and society. But I think we've got much more of a responsibility now, especially everything that's happening in the planet. But it doesn't deter me from doing it, because I love fashion, and it's about doing it in the right ways and the right choices. But
the pieces from you that I have, for example, they're with me forever, and I see them as more than just like pieces.
Yeah.
Because I think this is kind of what I'm aiming, hopefully, to one day achieve as well.
I agree. I think you're on your way, so I'm excited for you.
Thank you so much. Really, like, the camera's off, but thank you so much for everything.
No, that's so nice. No,
like an honor to speak.
Oh, don't be silly. No, it's so nice to meet you at last, and I love what you're doing, and I think I'm excited for your show. But don't feel the pressure, just go for the ride. It's a roller coaster. And you know what you're doing is right. It feels good for you. So that's good. You're on the right road.